Welcome to NACTV Reads the News. My name is Jeremy Vogt, and I'm one of many volunteers that help create programming for our station. NACTV can be seen on MTS Channel 30 or 1030, Westman Cable Channel 117, Bell Satellite Channel 592, or online at nactv.tv. These programs are made possible by our volunteers, staff, advertisers, as well as donations made by you, the viewers. If you are enjoying your NACTV experience, please consider supporting us by either donation or volunteering. You can contact our office at 204-476-2639 or email us at nactv@wcgwave.ca. And today I'll be reading the Neepawa banner and press for Friday, July 16th, 2021. On the front page we have Retro Roadsters Dazzle Neepawa. The Brandon Road Rebels Car Club passed through Neepawa, Arden, and Carberry on Sunday, July 11th. Their cruise route allowed them to parade past some locations in town that might normally be missed, such as Aspen Lee in Neepawa. The group's original plan was to go to Mountain Road, but due to road conditions in that area, that route was canceled. Clark steps down as Indigenous Minister. Eileen Clark, the MLA for the Agassiz riding, has stepped down as Manitoba's Indigenous and Northern Affairs Minister. The banner and press confirmed her resignation on July 14th and was told she would not speak further about the decision on that day out of respect for the Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs election, which was also occurring on the 14th. Clark will remain in her position as the MLA for Agassiz. Clark was first elected as the Progressive Conservative MLA for Agassiz in 2016 and became the Minister of Indigenous and Municipal Relations the same year. Next step in Manitoba's reopening unveiled. Manitobans just might have themselves one great summer after all. On Wednesday, July 14th, Premier Brian Pallister and Dr. Brent Roussin, the Chief Public Health Officer, announced that the second phase of the province's reopening plan will move ahead a few weeks earlier than previously proposed. This decision comes after Manitoba reached the vaccination target needed for the second phase of reopening several weeks early. Under the second phase of the 4-3-2-1 Great Summer reopening path, most facilities may now open to 50% capacity. As well, the most notable new public health orders will now allow the following. Indoor gatherings at private residences are permitted to a maximum of 5 people plus the household members. Indoor gatherings in public spaces are permitted to a maximum of 25 people. Outdoor gatherings on private property increased to a maximum of 25 people. Public outdoor gatherings increased to a maximum of 150 people. Restaurants, licensed premises, and food court capacities expand to 50% capacity. Personal services, such as haircuts and styling, nail salons, estheticians, and massage, continue at 50% capacity. However, appointments are no longer required. Dance, theater, and music school capacities increase to 50% capacity. Indoor sporting facilities may host groups up to a maximum of 25 people. Interaction between groups and tournaments are not permitted. Outdoor recreation, including games and practices, may take place to maximum group size of 50 people. Spectators are permitted and do not count toward this capacity limit. Tournaments are not permitted. Gym and fitness center capacities expand to 50% capacity. Masks and increased physical distancing, 3 meters, are still required. Outdoor weddings and funerals may include up to 150 participants in addition to photographers and officiants. Indoor weddings or funerals increase to 25 people. Faith-based and cultural gatherings may expand to 50% capacity or 150 people indoors. In order for Manitoba to reach the third phase of reopening, 80% of eligible Manitobans need 1 dose of the vaccine and 75% need 2 doses by Labor Day. And next we have a picture titled Parrish and Heimbecker Limited Donation Helps McCreary Pool Project Hit Halfway Mark. Leanne Solner, a sale representative with Parrish and Heimbecker Limited, recently presented Taylor Duggan, the chair of the McCreary Swimming Pool Committee, with a check for $10,000. The money is in support of the purchase of a new PVC membrane liner for the community pool. This donation puts the pool committee at a halfway point of reaching its fundraising goal. Other donations recently received include the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 173 for $5,000 and the Municipality of McCreary for $4,000. The Manitoba government's Building Sustainable Communities program and McCreary Recreation Commission have also assisted by providing funding. Ready to lend a hand at the Riverbend Market? The last-minute preparations are going very well for the inaugural Riverbend Makers Market. The Retail Arts and Crafters event, which is being organized by members of the Neepawa Tourism Volunteer Board, is scheduled for July 23rd and 24th at Riverbend Park in Neepawa. It will feature an array of Manitoba-based craftspeople and artisans selling and promoting their homegrown or homemade wares. Neepawa Tourism Marketing Manager Kelsey Wilson told the Banner and Press that everyone involved with getting the 2-day event organized is feeling pretty good about how the last few weeks of prep work has gone. We have a lot of vendors set up and ready to go. They are very excited to be coming out to Neepawa. I think everyone is feeling that way, just generally excited to be able to go out and be involved in an event, Wilson said. The recent changes to the provincial restrictions related to COVID-19 will really open up what we are able to do during the market. We will still have safety protocols in place, though. We want to ensure the vendors and the general public all feel safe, so we just ask everyone to be respectful of the rules, and it should be a great few days. The only minor uncertainty facing organizers at the moment is volunteers. About 24 individuals have already stepped up to assist with jobs such as setup, tear down, and working the admission and exit gates. Anyone interested in helping out is asked to contact merch@neepawatourism.ca or info@neepawatourism.ca. Wilson noted that any additional support on the Makers Market would be appreciated. She also voiced gratitude to all the sponsors and supporters who have already stepped up to make the event a reality. Neepawa Tourism was created in 2018 and consists of a group of local volunteers, members of the Neepawa and District Chamber of Commerce, and representatives of the town of Neepawa. Its purpose is to promote the community and all of its attractions to a wide scope of people. And our next article is titled Questions Being Raised About Firdale Irrigation Project. In the June 18th edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press, an advertisement was placed from Manitoba Conservation and Climate regarding an application from J.P. Weeb for the construction and operation of an irrigation project in the municipalities Spruce Plains RCMP report. During the week of July 5th to July 11th, Spruce Plains RCMP dealt with 58 police activities. On July 5th, RCMP received a report of a parking violation in Minnedosa, as well as report of a dangerous driver in the RM of Minto-Odana. The vehicle was located and stopped. It was determined nothing dangerous occurred. A domestic disturbance took place in the RM of Minto-Odana. The matter is still under investigation. Police conducted a check stop in the town of Neepawa targeting impaired drivers. Several warnings for traffic offenses were given, and no impaired driving was detected. On July 6th, RCMP received a request to conduct a well-being check in the community of Plumas. All was determined to be fine. Police conducted a COVID compliance check in the municipality of Glenella Lansdowne. All persons were found to be abiding by the quarantine conditions. Police responded to report of someone passing unsafely in the municipality of North Cypress Langford. The driver was located and given a warning for their driving. Police responded to report of theft in Minnedosa. Police responded to report of dogs running at large in the town of Gladstone. With assistance from the local animal control, the dogs were located and safely apprehended. While they had a rough day, the dogs remained positive throughout the interaction. On July 7th, RCMP received a report of a Facebook deal gone bad. It was said that the seller had fraudulently sold the buyer a bike, which they never received. Police received a report of a car keying in Neepawa. Police assisted Child and Family Services with a home visit. Due to possible safety concerns, it was handled without incident. On July 8th, RCMP conducted a COVID compliance check in the town of Neepawa. All persons were found to be abiding by the quarantine conditions. Police received a report of an unsafe vehicle traveling on the highway. Police responded to report of a break and enter in the town of Minnedosa. The matter is still under investigation. Police received a report of a disturbance at Tim Hortons in Neepawa. Once dealt with, police ensured an adequate donut supply was readily available and conducted quality control testing. The donuts were delicious as always. On July 9th, RCMP executed a warrant in the community of Bethany. Police received an alarm call which was determined to be a panic alarm for a medical emergency in Rapid City. EMS attended and police were not required. Police responded to a report of a theft in the RM of Minto-Odana. Police executed a warrant in the town of Neepawa. Police responded to a report of a suspicious vehicle in the RM of Rosedale. The vehicle had since departed and was not located. Police responded to a report of a possible impaired driver in the RM of Minto-Odana. The vehicle was located and the driver was determined to be sober. Police responded to a family disturbance in Neepawa. The matter was resolved. On July 10th, RCMP responded to a shop fire in the RM of Rosedale. It was suspected to be an electrical fire. Police responded to an alarm call in the town of Neepawa. It was determined to be false. Police responded to a report of a theft in Minnedosa. Police engaged with several motorists for their poor parking habits at the Minnedosa beach. On July 11th, RCMP responded to an alarm call in the town of Minnedosa. It was determined to be a false alarm. Police also responded to an alarm call in the town of Neepawa. It was also determined to be a false alarm. Police responded to a well-being check in the municipality of Glenella Lansdowne. Everyone was determined to be fine. Police engaged with several more motorists in the vicinity of the Minnedosa beach. Finally, to round off the week, police responded to one last alarm call. To their surprise, it was determined to be a false alarm. RCMP conducted 23 traffic enforcement actions during this reporting period. Delaloy plays in Manitoba Junior Championship. Secures top 15 finish overall in competitive playing field. A strong third-round performance helped to propel Hayden Delaloy closer to the top of the leaderboard at the 99th Annual Manitoba Men's Junior Golf Championship. The teen golfer, who plays out of the Neepawa Golf and Country Club, shot a third round 74, 2 above for the day, on Wednesday, July 7th at the Shiloh Golf Course. He shot rounds of 81 on the first and second days of the 3-day event. That third round effort bumped Delaloy up 3 places in the standings to 6th place in the 15-16 age category. It also pushed him to 15th in the overall standings. In total, there were 45 golfers from across the province at the championship, competing in 5 different age groups. The overall championship was won by Braxton Kuntz of the Breezy Bend Country Club, who shot a 3-day total of 219, 72, 74, and 73. Manitoba Agricultural Museum puts funds toward repair and modernization. The Manitoba Agricultural Museum, near Austin, received help to keep history alive recently. As part of the provincial government's Building Sustainable Communities program, the Manitoba Agricultural Museum, or MAM, has been provided a grant of $33,841 to aid with projects on the museum grounds. A portion of these funds is being dedicated to upgrading the Pioneer Center. These upgrades include repainting the facade, touching up the bathroom, and repairing the roof. When people come here, the Pioneer Center is the first thing they see. It's the hub, said Operations Manager Eugene Fortin. We use it during a variety of events too, like the Threshermen's Reunion and displays in the fall and winter. Fortin added, and the chariots we have stored in there, we have them in there for a reason, right? It protects them from the elements and preserves them. But right now, we've got a leaky roof, so we want to fix that. We want people to have a positive experience. Fortin noted that the remaining funds will be focused on upgrades related to the MAM's access gates. The MAM expects the planned update to provide more structure, improve the facility's internet connection, and make it easier to keep track of how many people come and go. For example, the MAM's volunteers having ID cards that can be scanned at the gate. Just because we're a museum doesn't mean we have to live in those times, Fortin expressed. These upgrades will help us modernize our record keeping, help us keep track of our visitor capacity and how many people are on the grounds at a certain time for safety. It will be a lot easier to keep our provincial partners up to date as well. The funds received through the Building Sustainable Communities program are expected to cover 50% of the total cost of the upgrade projects. The MAM is expecting to start on these projects following their July 28th board meeting, at which the releasing of funds will be discussed. In his final thoughts, Fortin noted his thanks to all of the volunteers that helped the museum continue to be what it is, even through COVID-19. We have awesome volunteers, amazing. They keep everything running, keep the grass trimmed. They really have a sense of ownership for the equipment and buildings they look after, said Fortin. And there is an accompanying picture. This building, known as the Pioneer Center, is the first thing visitors to the Manitoba Agricultural Museum are likely to notice. The museum received funds recently to assist with roof repair and repainting of the facade to spruce it up. The funding will also help with modernization of some of the museum's systems. Our next article is titled, "A Complete Disregard for the Parliamentary System. MP Dan Mazur miffed at move to delay Bill C-208. Dauphin Swan River Neepawa Member of Parliament Dan Mazur is unhappy with the recent actions taken on a bill that would ease the tax burden on small businesses and farm operations. The Federal Finance Department recently allowed that it will delay the implementation of Bill C-208. The bill, which had been introduced by Brandon Souris MP Larry Maguire last year, would amend the Federal Income Tax Act by reducing the amount of taxes paid by families selling small businesses or farms. Under current regulations, when a person sells their business or farm to a family member, the difference between the sale price and the original purchase price is considered a dividend. However, if the business or farm is sold to a non-family member, the sale is considered a capital gain, which is taxed at a lower rate. The House of Commons had passed Bill C-208 with the support of the opposition parties and 19 Liberal MPs back in May. The Trudeau government announced on June 30th that it would delay its implementation over concerns that the bill creates an opportunity for tax avoidance that undermines the equity of Canada's tax system. Masier was an avid supporter of the bill and spoke on its behalf during the deliberation process. In a recent interview with Lyle Watson on NACTV's Coffee Chat, Masier expressed his frustration on the unprecedented decision. The Liberals have decided to block it. The bill received royal assent and they've basically stopped it and said, "No, we're not going to enact it." "It's the first time in Canadian history," said Masier. "I don't know what's going to become of it. I don't know why they're doing it. We need to figure out what the implications of that is. But that's just how much this government is starting to disregard Parliament. I think it's a pretty common theme we've seen during this session. Just a complete disregard for the parliamentary system and the rest of us. This just goes beyond partisan politics. It's just them figuring they can rule the country as they see fit." Under the current federal rules, this move by the Finance Department can delay Bill C-208 until January 1st, 2022. It could also, however, pave the way for a revision or outright repeal of the law. And in the photo, Dauphin, Swan River, Neepawa Member of Parliament Dan Masier on left sat down with NACTV Coffee Chat host Lyle Watson on Friday, July 9th to discuss several topics of interest. And that full interview will be airing for the first time on July 19th and a few other times later that week. So make sure to tune into that. Massive multi-use trail park announced for Minnedosa. $650,000 recreation project could begin build construction in 2022. Minnedosa is hoping to add a brand new attraction to its already impressive array of local tourism destinations. Valley Life Recreation, a local charitable not-for-profit group, has announced that it's moving ahead on the creation of a major trails infrastructure project for Minnedosa and the RM of Minto-Odana. The Squirrel Hills Trail Park would be a multi-use trail system able to accommodate mountain biking, trail running, hiking, snowshoeing, and more. The new trails will double the total existing trail distance within the area to around 16 kilometers. The space, just west of Minnedosa, is already home to a well-developed cross-country ski and hiking trail system located just west of the community. Valley Life Rec Committee Board Chair Dave Tournier said that they have been quietly working on this project for about 18 months now. He added that they are very excited to finally be able to unveil what's been on the go behind the scenes. What started out as just a basic concept has really taken off over the last year to year and a half, stated Tournier. Interest across the province for these types of recreation options has really increased over the last few years. You can see it with trail systems in Neepawa, Dauphin, and the one at Riding Mountain National Park. We're optimistic that what we're trying to do here in Minnedosa will complement similar sites that currently exist. With the great topography we have available to us, we have an opportunity to build a really unique, inclusive, and above all, a really fun trail system. The entire trail park proposal is budgeted at around $650,000 and has a tentative start date for construction for sometime in 2022. The exact timeline would be dependent on whether or not the project's funding goals are met. As part of its official announcement, a major fundraising campaign has also been unveiled, which includes a sponsorship program and donation options. The Town of Minnedosa, the RM of Minto Odana, and the Heritage Co-op Community Fund have all already offered up financial supports totaling $36,000. Tournier has stated that the Valley Life is also currently working on several grant proposals. Additional information on the project and support options is available online at www.valleyliferec.ca. And the article is accompanied by a couple of pictures. On the top right, the proposed Squirrel Hills Trail Park project in Minnedosa. And on the bottom left, once completed, the Squirrel Hills Trail Park would include a multi-use trail system able to accommodate mountain bikes, running, hiking, snowshoeing, and more. And the River Bend Market is taking place on Friday, July 23rd, 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., and Saturday, July 24th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And thank you to some of the sponsors that you can see on this page. Beautiful Plains School Division makes it through first full year with COVID-19. Credits students, staff, and community for a successful school year. The end of June marked the wrap-up of a very different school year for Manitoba. While schools ended last year with the pandemic, the 2020-21 year was their first dealing with the pandemic right from the start in September. Beautiful Plains School Division, or BPSD, Assistant Superintendent Krista Reynolds noted that the staff, students, and communities were integral in getting through the year relatively smoothly. It was a tremendous effort from everybody, she expressed in an interview on NACTV. Reynolds said that throughout the school year, the division relied heavily on the Department of Education and Manitoba Health for guidance around COVID-19 safety. The Department of Education directives would come from Public Health and from the Chief Medical Officer, so there was a lot of communication there, she stated. She noted that they prepared for the school year by making 3 levels of plans. One for in-person learning, yellow, one for mix of remote and in-person, orange, and one for remote learning only, red. She noted that the plans were always shifting as different situations came up, not just shifting between levels, but changes were also made within each level. We were just kind of doing our best to go with what they told us day by day. The regulations from Public Health required students to be spaced 2 meters apart to the greatest extent possible, and surfaces and furniture to be sanitized regularly. Reynolds said that the school division had to do a lot of shuffling to make sure these rules were adhered to. The spacing in terms of the classrooms was part of it. There was also the furniture and where the students would be, depending on the kind of activities that students were doing, required a different level of space needs as well, she explained. So what that required from our teachers and from our custodial staff and really everybody pulling together was moving furniture either out to the perimeters or completely out of our schools. So we actually had to get some trailers and some other things to be able to put furniture in so that our students could be spaced, she continued. It required some of our schools to use our gyms for a period of time. Music rooms became classrooms, libraries became classrooms, multi-purpose rooms were classrooms, and our teachers were moving between all of those spaces to be able to make it work for our kids. She noted that not only was having multiple classroom spaces a challenge for the teachers, but having students also learning from home added a ball to the juggling act. It's not even comparable. There's classroom management that we don't think of because it's cameras on or off, and we want to be respectful of our students when they're at home, and they may not want to share that space with us, explained Reynolds. So teachers are being respectful of that while also being mindful that they want to see them and support them and work with them. Some of our students don't know how to put their cameras on, so our teachers are supporting that. At the same time, they're sharing screens, they're bringing groups in, they're running breakout rooms, and all of these things are happening in the span of 5 minutes. Before getting to the point where teachers could do remote and hybrid learning, there was a lot of technology that had to be set up and learned. We needed things like document cameras, webcams that were on tripods, Reynolds said. They also had sound systems set up so students at home could hear the teacher and the in-class students, and vice versa. MiFi devices were acquired so that the division could send them home to provide internet for students that didn't have access otherwise. Even the school's internet had to be upgraded to keep up with the need. Certainly it came with a number of challenges, but that support and the teachers' technology skills were incredible. Our tech team, our technicians, and our technology coordinator worked really closely with our staff to be able to make that happen in a really short period of time. For those wondering just how often schools had to deal with remote learning, Reynolds noted that it was a substantial amount. Back in December, all grades 7 to 12 students across the province were required to move to remote learning until after Christmas break, with kindergarten to grade 6 students' families having the option to go remote as well. In addition to that, there were several times that individual schools had to send students home to isolate for a time due to possible exposures to COVID-19. Almost every school had at least a cohort that was out. We had a number of our schools where the full school was out for a period of time, Reynolds added. However, she noted that there was never a significant length of time where BPSD's schools had to be closed to in-person learning, which she credited to the efforts of staff, students, and the communities. Now that this school year is done, many will be wondering what the new school year will look like come fall. Reynolds noted that BPSD is already preparing. However, there is still a lot they don't know yet about what's to come. Manitoba Education in June talked to us about continuing to plan with COVID-19 in mind. And what that meant to us at that time was they said we need to ensure that our students are continuing to be 2 meters apart to the greatest extent possible. So we planned with that, she explained. She added that the province told them more details would become available to them in August. So come August, we're anticipating that we'll get some new directives. In the meantime, we're always planning with our students' safety in mind and also making sure that their needs are first. So our teachers have been doing a lot of work in June to prepare for what their spaces will look like, recognizing that some of those spaces will change and the number of students in our classes will look a little different. So we're excited about that. Local comes across vehicle sales scam. One local banner and press reader has come forward sharing details of a scam they fell victim to last week. The individual wished to remain anonymous, but wanted to tell their story to let people know to watch out for this scam. I want everyone to know about this particular con, the reader stated. I'm trying to sell a truck, so I listed it on Kijiji. I received 2 texts within minutes of each other, both expressing interest. We texted back and forth, and they both insisted that I get a vehicle report, similar to Carfax, which provides the truck's history. They provided the link to a website that supposedly does these reports, and I found the site, the reader explained. The website looked very professional, and I punched in my credit card number. The report was supposed to be forwarded to my email, but the email contained no information. The reader noted that after that, they looked up the website on Google and saw reports that it was a fraudulent site, so they called their credit card company to cancel their card. The charge had gone through. It was only $34.10, luckily, but how many people do they nail with this every day? A lot, probably. The reader noted that there were a few warning signs present that they didn't clue in to until it was too late. The texts were from out-of-province area codes, in my case, BC and Toronto. The texts are somewhat broken English, not the way most people text, and with a lot of spelling and punctuation errors, they explained. When I questioned why he needed this, he got a little heated. Why I sent you a legitimate link if you don't try to got it? It's up to you. It's not my fault you take the wrong report from fake site. I should have clued in then. But with 2 guys texting me the same thing at the same time, well, I caved in because I wanted to sell the truck. The website that one of the 2 scammers used, which was the one the seller ended up paying, was auditandregistryreport.com. The other scammer had texted a link to wheelhistory.com, but that one came after the seller had already discovered that it was a fraud. Never go to a site that someone provides in such a manner. Google it first to see if it is legit. Also, legit sites like this have a green key in the top left-hand corner, and their website should have http www in their address, the reader noted. Go on YouTube. They have videos about this and other scams when you are selling vehicles. The reader added that they put a call in to the RCMP to report the incident, and they are also attempting to get a refund through PayPal, the online payment platform that was used. The reader noted that they hope letting people know about this scam will prevent others from falling for it and save some people money and hassle. There, I just saved you $34.10, and if you want to buy my truck, it is still for sale. I'm asking $18,034.10, the seller joked. And now for the Carberry North Cypress Langford page. Dakota Ojibwe CFS celebrates 40th anniversary. Dakota Ojibwe First Nation held a very successful 40th anniversary celebration at the Carberry and Area Recreation Center on a warmer Friday, July 2nd from 11 to 2. It was a well-organized drive-through. Visitors picked up food, hot dogs, hamburgers, French fries, drinks, prize packages, coupons for swimming, bowling, and ice cream bars. They even had to get more hamburgers from downtown. Carberry Mayor Stu Olmsted and Keith Loney were in the assembly line passing out goodies. The Dakota Ojibwe Child and Family Services head office, which has 40 employees, is located on the west side of Highway 5 opposite the casino. They service 11 reserves. Their executive director is Doreen Mollenbeck-Deschnitsky, and Stacy Haubrick is the finance team leader. We like to support local businesses and bring community and families together. It was a fun day, and we enjoyed being a part of this with our coworkers, the council, and the fire department. It was a win-win event and a great celebration. And there's an included picture of the barbecue drive-through. And next we have a community profile of Jeff Arts. Jeff Arts, age 42, is a physical education teacher in Coronation, Alberta, east of Red Deer, who is training to run in the Boston Marathon Monday, October 12th. Jeff, who teaches grades 6 to 12, ran his first marathon, 26 miles, in Saskatoon in 2018 and had planned to run in the Boston Marathon in April 2020, but the last two events have been canceled by the pandemic. The Boston Marathon attracts about 30,000 men and women, and Jeff's class, aged 40 to 45 years, requires a minimum time of 3 hours and 10 minutes to qualify, along with a $345 entry fee. Arts graduated from Carberry Collegiate in 1996 and spent 4 years studying physical education at Valley City, North Dakota, on a track and field scholarship specializing in long jump, triple jump, and hurdles. His coach encouraged him to join the cross-country team. Jeff taught junior high in St. Paul's, Alberta for 12 years and runs 65 to 75 kilometers weekly, which will increase to 100 kilometers in the fall. After Frank and Judy Art's granddaughter, Jeff's niece, Michaela, passed away from cancer, Jeff raised about $1,600 for Westman Dreams for Kids in a special running event. Organized by David Goggins, he ran for 4 hours and rested for 4 hours on a 48-hour schedule. This summer, Jeff plans to visit family in Truro, Nova Scotia. He will fly from Alberta to Boston 1 to 2 days before the marathon. Best wishes to Jeff on a successful trip to the Boston Marathon. And there is a picture of him training for the Boston Marathon. We have a couple of obituaries this week. Clarence Robert Medill, August 28, 1940 to July 8, 2021. Clarence was the oldest child of Bob and Isabel Medill and was raised on the family farm west of Plumas. His early years were spent working on the farm, which he eventually took over. In 1963, he married Isabella Leach, and they resided in a 32 by 8 foot trailer for the first 11 years of their marriage. There were more people in that home than anywhere else they lived. Clarence loved baseball, rodeos, snowmobiling, deer hunting, card games with dear friends. He taught the grandkids to play as soon as they could hold the cards, and his grandchildren's sporting events. Family gatherings were extremely important to him. In his later years, he traveled to visit family in Arizona and went with his wife and granddaughter to see Ireland, Scotland, and England. His only complaint was that there were too many old castles. He was predeceased by his parents, Bob and Isabel, his brother Harold, his brothers-in-law, Tony Hasselbeck and Tom Medill, and his sisters-in-law, Eileen Townsend and Beth Medill. He is survived by his loving wife of 58 years, Isabella, his daughter, Leah Taylor, husband Dave, grandson Robin Taylor, wife Jenna Lisa, granddaughter April Taylor, fiance Jimmy, his son Craig Medill, Jamie, and grandsons Bradley and Wade Medill. He is also survived by sister Gail McGregor and husband Jim, sisters-in-law Joan Medill, Alice Hasselbeck, brothers-in-law Sam Leach, wife Ellen, Gordy Leach, wife Kathy, and many nieces and nephews. Due to COVID-19 restrictions, a private family service was held with Wendy Denbo officiating. Interment took place in the Plumas Cemetery, Plumas, Manitoba. If friends so desire, memorial donations may be made to the Alzheimer's Society of Manitoba, 120 Donald Street, Winnipeg. And Edna Catherine Single, nee Mouthy, 1930 to 2021. After 91 years of life filled with joy and loving memories shared with her family and friends, we announce the death of Edna Single on July 4th, 2021 at Country Meadows Personal Care Home in Neepawa, Manitoba. Edna was born in Waldersea, Manitoba on June 1st, 1930 and lived in Waldersea until 2015 when she moved to Carberry. In 2017, she moved to Neepawa in the personal care home until her passing. She leaves to mourn her 4 sons, Dennis, wife Peggy, Ron, wife Marlene, Keith, wife Joanne, and Mark, wife Shauna, 6 grandchildren, Janelle, Whitney, Alana, Matthew, Tristan, and Leah, and 2 great-grandchildren, Jayton and Jeslyn. Siblings Arnold Mouthy, wife Irene, Ernest Mouthy, Doreen Fox, husband Norm, Gertie Chipka, and numerous nieces and nephews. She was predeceased by her parents Adolph and Frida Mouthy, her siblings Edwin Mouthy and Sharon Skrupa, her sisters-in-law Margaret Mouthy and Doreen Mouthy, and her brothers-in-law Steve Skrupa and Barry Chipka. Due to COVID, a private family service was held on Saturday, July 10th, 2021. A video of the service will be available on Clark's Funeral Home website, that's clarksfuneralhome.com, on Sunday, July 11th, 2021. For friends wanting to send a card or private message, they can be mailed to the Single family at Box 3, Gladstone, Manitoba, R0J0T0. The family wishes to thank the care team at Country Meadows Personal Care Home for the exceptional care provided to their mother during her time there. If friends so desired, memorial donations can be made to the Christ Lutheran Church Waldersea Memorial Fund, the Alzheimer's Society, or a charity of your choice. Flowers are gratefully declined. And we also have this week a birth. Karen and Robert Smith of Austin, and Gil and Paulette Patinod of Winnipeg are pleased to be grandparents again. Danielle and Richard Smith welcomed the birth of Sophie Alice Smith on July 10th at 4:27 p.m. in Neepawa. She weighed 8 pounds 2 ounces and was excited to meet her big sister Stella. .4-H wraps up for another year. Neepawa Area Beef Club receives results for online achievement. Wow, what a year it has been. As a wrap for the year, the Neepawa 4-H Beef Club sold their steers online July 7th. We held our second virtual online achievement with the results coming in on July 1st. A huge thank you to our judges, Lee and Cynthia Wergow from Lundar, Manitoba, and Darby Cochran from Griswold, Manitoba. This was not an easy task. Due to public health restrictions, members had to do their own videoing and pictures this year. These were due by June 5th. For our judging competition, we would like to thank Megan Barron from Carberry, Manitoba. These are the results. Clover Bud Project books. First place, Sadie Sawchuk and Cooper Jury. Junior Project books. First place, Morgan Dyke. Second place, Summer Sawchuk. Third place, Quinn Sawchuk. Fourth place, Avery Jury. Intermediate project books. First place, Svena Bjornsson and Madison Robertson. Second, Carson Baker. Third, Ashley Dyke and Keegan Dyke. Fourth, Jason Schultz. Senior project books. First, Cora Baker. Second, Eric Schultz. Third, Rebecca Lynn Peterson. Clover Bud judging. First, Cooper Jury. Second, Sadie Sawchuk. Junior judging. First, Quinn Sawchuk. Second, Avery Jury. Third, Morgan Dyke. Fourth, Summer Sawchuk. Intermediate judging. First, Jason Schultz. Second, Madison Robertson. Third, Carson Baker. Fourth, Svena Bjarnason. Fifth, Ashley Dyke. Sixth, Keegan Dyke. Senior judging. First, Rebecca Lynn Peterson. Second, Cora Baker. Third, Eric Schultz. Market steers. First, Sadie Sawchuk. Second, Eric Schultz. Third, Madison Robertson. Fourth, Rebecca Lynn Peterson. Fifth, Jason Schultz. Sixth, Svena Bjarnason. Seventh, Summer Sawchuk. Eighth, Keegan Dyke. Ninth, Quinn Sawchuk. 10th, Morgan Dyke. 11th, Avery Jury. 12th, Cooper Jury. 13th, Cora Baker. Champion Market Steer, Sadie Sawchuk, sponsored by Randy and Shelley Bjarnason. Reserve Champion Market Steer, Eric Schultz, sponsored by Dave Schultz and family. Progeny Steers. First, Carson Baker, sponsored by Rob Smith and Son Backhoe and Trucking. Second, Rebecca Lynn Peterson, sponsored by Kevin Jury and family. Overall Grand Champion Market Steer, Sadie Sawchuk, sponsored by Penrose Machining and Manufacturing Limited. Overall Reserve Grand Champion Market Steer, Eric Schultz, sponsored by Jordan and Amber Sawchuk family. Yearling Heifers, first, Svena Bjarnason. Second, Madison Robertson. Third, Rebecca Lynn Peterson. Fourth, Ashley Dyke. Fifth, Eric Schultz. Sixth, Cora Baker. Seventh, Sadie Sawchuk. Eighth, Quinn Sawchuk. Ninth, Summer Sawchuk. Champion Yearling Heifer, Svena Bjarnason, sponsored by Peterson Farms. Reserve Champion Yearling Heifer, Madison Robertson, sponsored by Tim's Plumbing and Heating. Progeny Heifer, first, Madison Robertson. Second, Carson Baker. Third, Svena Bjarnason. Champion Progeny Heifer, Madison Robertson, sponsored by Kulbaki Ag, Matthew Kulbaki. Reserve Champion Progeny Heifer, Carson Baker, sponsored by JAS, Jason and Doug McLaren. 2-year-old cow with calf at foot. First, Carson Baker, champion 2-year-old with calf at foot. Carson Baker, sponsored by Hard Rock Land and Cattle Company, Robertson family. Supreme Champion Female, Svena Bjarnason, sponsored by Greenbush Angus. Reserve Champion Female, Madison Robertson, sponsored by the Neepawa Beef Club. High Gainer, Cora Baker at 4 pounds per day is sponsored by Madsen Farms. I know it sounds like I was repeating myself a lot, but these are all separate categories. The following members and leaders received the Manitoba 4-H seals. 6-year seal, Madison Robertson. 7-year seal, Svena Bjarnason and Eric Schultz. 8-year seal, Carson Baker. 10-year seal, Cora Baker and Rebecca Lynn Peterson. 21-year seal, Shelley Bjarnason, leader. Every year, the Manitoba Breed Associations recognize the members by handing out tokens for showing the breed. We would like to thank the following breed associations: Manitoba Angus Association, Keegan Dyke, Morgan Dyke, Ashley Dyke, Rebecca Lynn Peterson, Cora Baker, Carson Baker, and Svena Bjarnason. Manitoba Charolais Association, Madison Robertson. Manitoba Shorthorn Association, Cora Baker and Svena Bjarnason. Manitoba Simmental Association, Svena Bjarnason, Cooper Jury, Sadie Sawchuk, Summer Sawchuk, Quinn Sawchuk, Eric Schultz, and Jason Schultz. Congratulations to all the members. We would like to thank the Gladstone Auction Mart for allowing us to use their facility for both of our away days and for our inter-club sale. Your support is greatly appreciated. We would like to wish everyone a safe and wonderful summer and hope our club can meet in person in the fall and have a live show and sale next July. And on our next page we have some pictures of the Brookdale Flat Warehouse, which will be moving to the Manitoba Agricultural Museum grounds. Brookdale's old flat warehouse, shown here, is going to be moved to the grounds of the Manitoba Agricultural Museum. It is planned that it will be located between the railway station and the grain elevator, which is just outside this picture. The warehouse will be renovated as an exhibit on the history of prairie grain storage. Currently, the MAM is raising funds to acquire the resources needed to get the building moved and complete the restoration project. Those interested in helping out and or reading the full history of flat warehouses are encouraged to visit the MAM website at mbagmuseum.ca. That's mbagmuseum.ca. The flat warehouse at Brookdale was constructed in 1902 and used for much of the 20th century to store farm supplies and hardware. It is the last surviving flat warehouse on the prairies. And this picture shows a depiction of how the flat warehouse would have looked in its prime. Farmers delivered their grain to these warehouses in the early days of Manitoba agriculture. On one side there was a ramp for horse-drawn wagons and rails on the other for loading into boxcars. And in this picture, grain was moved in and out by scoop or in cloth sacks, sometimes with the aid of small carts on rails. Slow and labor intensive. The warehouses were quickly replaced by elevators. And some more pictures on the back. Brandon Road Rebels travel to rural communities. There were a variety of styles to see among the cars Brandon's Road Rebels drove through Neepawa, Arden, and Carberry. The vehicles appeared to be a hit in Neepawa when the banner and press photographer was on the scene. These photos showcase just a couple of the unique styles that were packed among the group, each vehicle showcasing their own body, grille, and window styles. Casper's personal favorite is the banana wagon, as they fondly called it. That's this one, a 1934 Ford. The gray Ford is a 1948 model. And we'll just go back and read some more things that we missed on the perspectives page. As always, we have Rita Friesen's Homebodies, Tracking South. It is with a sense of dismay that I note where on the horizon I see the sun rise and then set. Just weeks ago, I looked to the north for the glory of the sunset, and sometimes witnessed the sunrise as the dogs needed to go out. The early rise must have been Henry Hoover's idea, for Miss Daisy is quite content to lie abed until 6:30, an idea of which I much approve. Now, at 6:30, the sun is already up, but not too high, and no longer north of the window or directly east, but over to the south. Noting the crops as we travel, the fall crops are ready to turn, and some cereal crops are whitening, not ripening. The pastures are crisp, and the haylands definitely needing rain for a second cut. The gardens would not be productive without regular watering, and would be more productive if we had rain. wishing. There have been a few cooler nights for which I am thankful, but they are portents of fall. There are moments when I feel that summer is over and I never had it. There have been a couple of evenings on a patio with friends. A few summer suppers, barbecues, salads, watermelon, and rollkuchen. I recognize that I need to be thankful for each of these moments. I realize that these are gifts to be treasured. I realize that my attitude determines my view. I also realize that I greedily want more summer evenings with friends and bonfires and fireflies and laughter. Random summer thoughts. I forgo the peace and beauty of the trail north of the cemetery and down below the hospital for several weeks each year in an attempt to avoid ticks on the dog or myself. Thought I had waited long enough, enjoyed a walk, and then, late that night, picked a little bugger off my body. It had barely attached, but the reminder is a red welt and a nasty itch. Before I could truly forget that discomfort, a wasp nailed me on my upper arm. Did not see that coming. I reacted before it could deposit a full vial of venom, but not before it injected enough warning fluid to cause swelling and much discomfort. Part of the problem is that I am, by nature, a scratcher. Thankfully, my system has adapted to accepting mosquito bites, and that the insect isn't as fond of my old blood as it was of my young blood, for my legs and arms used to be dotted with scabs and welts most of the summer. And so the daylight hours are shorter. It is the cycle, the forever and ever cycle, one for which I am truly thankful. I choose to live in a country with seasons. Just as I would not want a never-ending winter, I do not want a never-ending summer. I think what I want is a memory. Those summers of my childhood and youth that felt never-ending, that felt free and perfect. When I was 12, the 2 summer months were 1/72nd of my life, and now those 2 months are 1/450th of my life. I want the larger slice. And we have some thumbs up and thumbs down. First, a thumbs up. We at Boston Pizza would like to extend a big thumbs up to the Neepawa Gladstone Co-op for the gracious use of some much needed freezer space for our restaurant and lounge supplies during a recent technical breakdown of our compressor unit. Quick work by my staff and a call to Co-op Foods netted a solution, and we are very grateful for their kindness. Thank you. From Boston Pizza General Manager Sarah Adnam. And a thumbs down. I would like to give a big thumbs down to the Manitoba Golf Association for not allowing spectators at this year's event in Neepawa. The MGA office said the reason was they would not be able to control the crowd. Someone should inform them that, firstly, the event is being held outdoors, and secondly, I cannot remember in recent history that any of these amateur golf events in Manitoba there was an issue with crowd control. Usually friends, relatives, and local golf fans make up the crowd. In my opinion, a very poor decision on someone's part. Neepawa loses because of it. From Cameron Smith from Winnipeg. And lastly, a big thumbs up to Pam and her staff at DQ for looking after all us classic vehicle people when we stopped on our cruise through Neepawa. Also a big thumbs up to all the Arden residents who welcomed us to their Crocus capital town on our cruise. One of the largest rural town people watchers we have had. Thank you. From Terry Smith of the Road Rebels Car Club. And we have a letter to the editor, Hope and Healing. If history teaches anything, it is that the human condition is, and always has been, evil. Greed, hatred, wars, tyranny, genocides, slavery, trafficking, and child abuse, the list of horrors would fill volumes. These have occurred for as long as we have existed. There have been thousands of studies and books and countless criminal trials. The word genocide conjures horrible images, from the Holocaust to the Tutsis in Rwanda, to black slavery, to Turkish Armenians, to Cambodians, the Circassians in Russia, to First Nations people in North America, to the starvation of millions of Ukrainians in the Holodomor, and on and on. We all have family, friends, neighbors, and ancestors who have been forever changed by these atrocities. Our hearts are deeply sorrowed at the discovery of the hundreds of unmarked children's graves near various residential schools in Canada. Genocide, abuse, and betrayal by leaders, especially religious ones, have created a spiral of pain in all countries, in all cultures, in all skin colors for millennia. In fact, there are still millions desperate to escape situations just as bad, even today, in a supposedly civilized world. No one can turn back the clock, so it's heartening to see First Nations seeking peace through healing. I admire the wisdom of First Nations leaders who encourage caring, respectful dialogue rather than shaming anyone who has a different skin color. Wise leaders nourish the fruits of a peaceful spirit. They inspire hope. Hope is found by taking one painful step forward at a time, in moving beyond the past, in learning coping strategies, and in providing purpose amid forgiveness. No one can do the healing for someone else. When it comes to abuse survivors, learning to love and to commit to living fully in spite of the pain is a choice each individual must make. May God grant hope and healing to those who need it. From Lenora Buffy of Neepawa. And the last thing, I don't have time to read the entire looking back section, so if you can pick up a copy of the newspaper, you can check that out. I'll just point out the picture. Neepawa's blacksmith, Scotty McGregor, was visited by Lieutenant Governor and Mrs. John McKeague during their touring of the town in 1971. His shop was a must-stop when they heard there was someone in Neepawa who practiced the dyeing trade, wanting to see the operation for themselves. Here, the couple watches as McGregor demonstrates the process of forging a horseshoe. And that's all we have time for this week. I hope you'll join us again next week for another edition of the Neepawa Banner and Press here on NACTV.